Hello and welcome to today's class. Today we'll be discussing on the essay questions that cross-border terrorism that had appeared in your essay test week 7. Prior to beginning the discussion, first of all I would like to put a quote. If poverty anywhere is threat to peace everywhere, then terrorism anywhere is threat to peace everywhere. This is the quotation. Now let's start the essay. Basically, again, from before starting, we'll say that the essay will be divided basically into three parts: intro, body, and conclusion. Now, the topic we need to analyze this thoroughly. The topic says cross border terrorism. Now, let us understand what the examiner actually demands. The examiner demands from you that you should at least know the meaning of terrorism and then how you are going to associate the terrorism meaning with the cross border terrorism. See, now let us understand what terrorism is. Now remember that terrorism is not an ideology, rather, it's a tactic of the use of violence against people to force change in the societies and government, and strike fear in the hearts of the people. Now, this is the simple definition of terrorism. Now, with this definition, let me bring a clarity of the terrorism definition. Now, remember that even an individual who's acting violently is nothing but a terrorism because he's striking fear into the heart of the people. Similarly, I would say the left wing extremism or the Naxalite movement that is basically associated with some parts of India is also nothing but a part of terrorism. Some says that ki LWE or the left wing extremism and terrorism are different, but put this thing into clarity, both are same. They are nothing but terrorism, but they are different types of terror. It's a left wing extremism is a form of a terrorism. It's a type of a terrorism, I can simply say. Now, what is this cross border terrorism? Now, the cross border terrorism is nothing but the export of terrorism across the border. This is a simple definition that I can frame it out. See, sometimes we do not need bookish definition, and most of the time we can frame our definition if we have understood the concept. Even if I am not writing this definition, I am writing terrorism is nothing but the violence against the people, violence against the government. It's also called terrorism. Think of it. It's simple that key what you have understood, and from that understanding itself, what you can write. Now, let's come to the body. The body, in this body, we need to discuss why the cross border terrorism. Who perpetuates this cross border terrorism? And how do they perpetuate this cross border terrorism? See, first of all, why is there a cross border terrorism? See, one of the reasons that we found is that the interstate dispute. This is the first reason that would come into our mind. What is this interstate dispute? Now remember that when I'm saying state, it means that at the international level. Even at the international level, I can call India as a state as well as Pakistan as also a state. Now at the interstate disputes, let us see that we have Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jamaat-ud-Dawa that are operating where? In Pakistan. Sorry, they are operating from Pakistan and they are operating in India. Basically, their role in India is nothing but the violence. Be it the 2011 attack, be it the Uri attack, this is nothing but the cross-border terrorism that has been exported into India by the Jamaat-ud-Dawa and the Lashkar-e-Taiba. Similarly, we have the Taliban. Taliban operates where? In Afghanistan. And from Afghanistan, it is causing terrorism in USA. The fall of the World Trade Center is one such example. Next, the 9/11. I remember. Yes, it's the 9/11. Next, there is ideological dispute. Now, what is this ideological dispute? Let us take into the example of Boko Haram. The Boko Haram is a terrorist organization that operates in Nigeria, and what are the affected states? Cameroon, Senegal, etc. Now, the ideology of the Boko Haram is that English is such a language that should be discarded, and that is what it says is that Boko Haram or the English Haram means it says that it's completely against the Western culture and it wants to propagate its Islamic theory, and it has also aligned itself with the ISIS. It's also called the Islamic States of West Africa that Boko Haram wants to establish. Again, we have the Houthi rebel. Now, who are the Houthi rebel? The Houthi rebels are nothing but the rebel who are operating in Yemen, and they have been supported by none other than Iran, one of the close partners of India. But remember that Iran is a Shia country, and this Shia country, whereas the Yemen was dominated by your Sunnis. Hence, Iran is basically trying to overturn the power of the Sunni and to establish a Shia regime. Similarly, we have the ISIS and the ISIL. ISIL, it's both are similar. ISIS is nothing but Islamic States of Iraq and Syria, and ISIL is nothing but the Islamic State of the relevant. Now, Levant. What I want to say is that again, the ISIS is nothing but a Sunni faction, and that is against your Shia faction, let's say against the Iran. So this is the ideological disputes is also one of the reason why the cross-border terrorism exists. Another reason why the cross-border terrorism exists against the injustice. The PLO is nothing but your Palestinian Liberation Organization. Palestinian Liberation Organization has been fighting against Israel illegal occupation of the West Bank as well as the Gaza strips. This has been illegally occupied by the Israel, and hence they are using this terrorist method against the Israelis. Again, this cross-border terrorism has also been utilized to change the regime. How? Let us look into the Syrian crisis. The Syrian crisis is basically nothing but a rebel funded by the USA. The rebels who have been funded, or the rebels in the Syria who have been funded by the USA, and they are acting against the President Bashar al-Assad. Again, remember that this is again a Shia-Sunni conflict. Bashar al-Assad again is a Shia. Now, again remember that it's a US again. This US again I have given some example of the US backed terrorism. One was the Contra. Remember that the Contra game that we used to play in our video games. This Contra was nothing but terrorists that were backed by USA, and they were basically operating where none other than in Nicaragua. Nicaragua is in the Central American state. Now, similarly, again US backed Taliban. It was in 1980s against the communist government of Afghanistan. But what was the end result? The end result was that the Taliban again stepped back, and it basically became against the US. Now, what is the mode of operation or the modus operandi? The modus operandi number one is that infiltration, that is crossing the porous border. Example, infiltration into the JNK from Pakistan. Similarly, there is another method, it's called radicalization. What is this radicalization? It is nothing but development of extremist ideology, and they use the medium such as your internet. Result is your lone wolf attacks that has been carried out by IS all across the nation, all across the world. Again, smuggling. They use narcotics and arms smuggling into the states also to carry out their terrorist activities. Remember that recently only when the government Jammu and Kashmir police, they totally seized not just the arms from the terrorists but also narcotics from them. So basically, narcotics actually become a very source of income that terrorists use to fund their operations. And last but not the least, they also use the organized crime syndicates. One such example is this. I think that with the figure itself, you can figure it out what I'm actually trying to say. Last but not the least is cyber attack. Now, cyber attack is the new form of the cross-border terrorism, where a terrorist no more has to infiltrate anyone's border or has to physically move into any border, but virtually he can affect a nation. Most of the time we have come under cyber attack, especially from China and especially from Pakistan. Recently you can see that the ransomware such as the Petya, etc., they are nothing but the form of a cross-border terrorism that has been utilized to basically dismantle the cyber infrastructure of a particular nation. What has been the outcome of this cross-border terrorism? First and foremost is that let us analyze the impact on the society. First, it has radicalized the youth. and it has made the vulnerable conditions of women, children, and elderly. Example, Boko Haram kidnapping. I hope if you remember that the Boko Haram actually kidnapped hundreds of girls from Nigeria and forcefully converted them into the into Islam, by that is the religious conversion. And they also, at the end of the day, what they did was that they married most of the children's. I'm saying specifically, they married most of the children's to their fighters, the Boko Haram fighters. Again, what was the impact on the economy? It hinders the development. Example of the J&K. Now look at the condition of Jammu and Kashmir. The cross-border terrorism propagated by Pakistan has actually totally it has destroyed the India's totally it has destroyed the what can we say, the Jammu Kashmir economy. Last but not least is loss and damage to the infrastructure. See, one of the things that I need you to understand is that, please look, then what is the impact on the nation as a whole? See, if a nation has 100 resources, then what it does is that in effect of the terrorism, in effect of such kind of disturbances, it has to divert majority of the resources to defense, and a small portion comes to the socio-economic development. Understand that. This is a major point that we need to write, and the impact of the cross-border terrorism. Now, how can we tackle it? Now, first of all, we need international cooperation. Now, we need to understand in this point is that we do not have a uniform definition of terrorism. Terrorism doesn't has a uniform definition. Example is that the CCIT. The CCIT is nothing but a comprehensive convention on the international terrorism. The this is nothing but a India-led initiative. India has been consistently in the United Nations been propagating that let us have a uniform definition of terrorism. But most of the members of the United Nations are yet to agree upon this. Next, strengthening the bilateral relationships. Example is the India Bangladesh. So, what happened was that after the 1971 War of Independence in Bangladesh, Bangladesh became a new country in the map of the world. Then what happened? Then what exactly happened was that cross-border terrorism started flowing from Bangladesh into India. Fake currency, radical elements started moving from Bangladesh to India. But India, then what it did was that India started developing its bilateral relationships with Bangladesh. And as a result, what happened is that today Bangladesh has completely cleared out its entire nations of the outfits that were acting against India. This was one of the major benefits of the India-Bangladesh development of the bilateral ties. Similar things can also happen across the world. Strengthening of the border infrastructure. This is another thing. We need to strengthen our border infrastructure if we have to tackle the terrorism. Last but not the least, we need an MOU amongst the member nations to build capacity. Example, India US on the cyber security. Next is at the conclusion. See, I have given the figure of Ajmal Amir Kasab. Now, Ajmal Amir Kasab was one of the perpetrators of the 2011 Mumbai attack, 2611 Mumbai attack. Now, what Kasab? But remember that Kasab, prior to becoming a terrorist, was already the victim of poverty in Pakistan. Hence, he became a easy recruit. It was easy to recruit Kasab. Now, remember this difference that a wealthy person, or a person who has a employment, who has a better life opportunity, it is difficult to take him into terrorism. But on the other hand, a person who is suffering from poverty, he can be brought easily into the terrorist activities. And that was the reason for the Kasab being a terrorist. It was one of the major reasons. Hence, I would say that development is the goal. There is an alternative to terrorism, and it is called justice. And when I say justice, it's nothing but socio-economic justice. You have to tackle poverty, we have to tackle hunger and the lack of opportunity. How can we do it? International aid and helping the NGOs. And with the help of the helping the NGOs, or we can take the help of NGOs, etc. Now, through development only, we can tackle the terrorism at a very larger scale. Hence, with this, I would like to conclude For any other doubts, you can ask me over the Telegram channel or you can ask me in the comment sections below. Thank you.